Hello everyone and welcome back to How to Paint with Acrylics, my way. I use this brand from Hobby Lobby, thick body acrylic, as well as this Winsor & Newton black that I got from Michaels, as well as this white paint that I got from Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby has the best paint. Look how cute they are. I also have this crusty dusty palette and I tried to scrape off the paint, but I just gave up because we can just wait for the paint to dry and peel it off later, which is so satisfying. Squirt out some yellow. And the reason I used the primary colors is to challenge myself with making skin tones the natural way. It's also really satisfying to finally make the tone I was trying to make the whole time. It's really exciting. Yes, it does take a while, but it's so cool to see the colors you think actually come out right. This is my gross water, but I actually have chicken wire on the inside to help agitate the brush and get all of the paint out of the brush. Now let's paint the strokes. I usually start off with doing the shadows first, just to figure out where everything is, and I color everything in with its main color first, and then we keep adding layers. One thing I really like to do is to add water into the paint to make it a little bit more blendable and easy to work with. This is similar with oils. Whenever you add some sort of oil mixing medium, I think. I've never worked with oils, so correct me in the comments. And if you guys are also saying, why are you painting the person first and not the background? I actually get to the background after I'm done painting this. I just like to block everything in and figure out where all the shadows are before I actually go in with all the detail. And one thing you'll see me do throughout this video is actually use my finger to help blend my acrylics. That's my second tip I'll give you. To help blend your acrylic paint a little more, or in a smoother way, I always use my finger. Another thing you could use is a brush with a little bit of water on it. Not drenching, just get it wet, wipe it off real quick on a towel, and then use your damp brush to help blend your paints on the canvas. I usually do this in small areas instead of a larger area. Larger areas is when I tend to use my finger. Another thing I do whenever I'm mixing paints is instead of adding white to a darker color to make it lighter, yes, I add white, but I also add yellow to give it more of a natural look. And for shadows, I tend to add more red and or blue. Depends on the skin tone that I'm painting. But here, whenever I was doing dark shadows, I added dark blue to give it more contrast and a natural looking shadow and not desaturating it in any way. So right now at this stage, you might think it looks a little weird and flat. Keep in mind, this is only the first layer. We do add a lot more depth and highlights as we go. Another thing to keep in mind whenever you're painting, especially stuff like this, be sure you know where your light source is coming from. Whenever I was doing mine, I tried to make it a top corner light source. Gotta trust the process. And that you do. A lot of the times whenever I'm painting, my painting will be in what we call the ugly stage, where we're not sure if it's actually going to turn out as we think because of how terrible it looks. That's how I felt right now. It doesn't look that great, but you just have to trust the process and keep layering. Layers are your best friend. Now it's time to paint the background, and I'm going to start with the arches. We also have to let this paint dry for a little bit, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm mixing all three of my primary colors and a little bit of black to get a dark brown look. I'm going to try to go for a stone arch look, and I do add moss later on, and I'm really excited for you guys to see it because painting moss is literally so easy and so fun. You'll see that later on. But now I'm adding darker brown to the back, and I'm just adding more blue and red and black, mixing it all in to make the background. You see how uneven it looks? I cannot emphasize enough how important layers are in layering all your paint. That's how you get such smooth looking paint. Now I'm going ahead and start to block and color everything else that isn't already blocked in. At first, I was thinking I was going to give my character white hair, but later on I changed it. Stay tuned to see what color I ended up changing it to. And you guys are probably wondering if I had a reference for any of this. Well, for my main character, no, but for the background, I did. I actually used an AI program to help me generate backgrounds, to give me ideas on how to paint something. I was given this one arch and I fell in love, so I decided to try to give my own twist on it. And later you'll see me do something with white paint where I water it down so much to where it's literally just colored water, and I paint over the arch. That is called glazing. That's something I like to do whenever I am not entirely happy with the color I have, so I will do a very, very, very faint color of colored water and paint over top of it to kind of change it a little bit. I also do that with the lace on the top of the dress. Now it's time to do something really cool, and it's really, really, really fun to do. So all you gotta do is get some really watered down white paint and take another brush and just hit the brush so speckles of the paint will go onto the canvas. This is how I get a nice little stone texture to the arch. I also splatter it around the whole canvas to give it a little ancient painting effect. But be careful whenever you do this because your paint is going to get everywhere. Yes, it got on the canvas, but it also got in my hair, on my skin, on my clothes, and on my walls. So just be careful whenever you're doing this. Now what I'm doing is aligning my fingers on the side of the canvas and slowly gliding the paint brush down to give a nice straight line. Now it's time for the moss. Super simple. All I gotta do is mix some yellow, blue, and a tint of red to get your dark green, and just put that all over. Then mix in a little more yellow and a tad bit of white to get a lighter color. And then for your third layer, add more yellow and a tad bit of white to get your highlights. And for the highlight for your final layer of the moss, just do yellow and blend it with your finger. Just dab the yellow on the top to get the little bright effect. Now it's time for the second layer of the skin. This is where I really try to get the skin tone I'm going for. You also see me using my finger to blend a lot more. This is how I make the skin look as smooth as I can get it to. And since I'm painting up the layers, I am getting rid of the canvas texture, so it is going to look a lot more smooth. Now I'm working on the highlights of the face. I am trying not to add so much white for a highlight. Instead, I'm adding yellow and a tad bit of white. And now you can see me doing the glazing thing again for the lace. I'm also adding a little bit of blue to my black to make it lighter instead of just white. Because whenever you look at black in real life in the shade, there's a tint of blue. And now I'm starting to do purple on the hair, but later on I regret it and I wanted to change it. I took a picture and I imported it into Procreate, and so I decided to get all of the hair on one layer, as you can see me doing now, and I'm going to be changing the color to see what color I think fits best. At first I was thinking gray, that looked fine. Then I was thinking brown, but then I slid it up to red and I was like, that's it. So automatically changed color to red, and boy am I glad I made that decision, because the final product looks so much better. And also, whenever you're painting hair with your highlights, again, don't add white. Yes, add a little bit, but also add yellow. The contrast of colors will make it look more natural. And now I'm adding this little face jewelry necklace bead thing. I'm not really sure what it is, but I really thought it looked pretty cool. And I'm just adding some shading. Adding more highlights where I think they should go, and adding a tad bit of purple as a glaze in like the shadow area. So this lace was so much fun to paint, but also a little annoying because I had to do the water down the white again and make sure it's the perfect consistency. So whenever I'm painting, I mix my acrylic with water. And the reason I mix my acrylic paints with water is to give it more of a matte look, and if it's too shiny, like right there, then I didn't mix enough water into it. You'll see the background and like the moss and stuff, it's not as shiny as it is right there. Then again, this, okay, it is dry, but like it's not as shiny. Also, here's a close-up on the moss. I love like how real it looks. I want to add a lot more, probably like here, but now I'm going to try to work on the cape and make it look more of like a cape, and maybe do some touch up on like the hair here, make it look more real, if that makes sense. But I love the lace and how that looks. Probably add a little bit more shading to the dress, and then we will be done. And one thing I really like to do is have a cloth similar to this. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. This is my dedicated paint towel now. My other one got destroyed. But I do have a dedicated paint towel. This is like a little hand cloth. It's an old one. But I just take it and I put it on my knee, because I used to just wipe it on my pants. As you can see here, I would take like old pants I never wore in public and do that, but now I'm doing it on a cloth so I don't do that to my clothes more. So now I'm painting the cape, and I'm trying to make it look like fabric a little bit. I'm still not the best at painting fabric right now, but I think I'm getting better. I'm just like looking through like the camera right now and seeing if I can see anything, because yes, like this I see it, but whenever I look through my camera I can see like any imperfections that I might see, and I don't see much besides this like, sorry if my head's in the way, I just like really gotta not have that glare. And one thing I do is I wet my brush and then I barely dry it off, and then I just use it like a little blender. And look at that. Wait, no, I need to add one thing which I totally forgot to add, and that is the hoop earrings. So what I do for stuff like this, where I have to do it in one swipe, I get a bunch of water, I water it down. Okay, don't judge this, I use this for my hair dye. Yes, I used a paintbrush, only for the roots. This is normally how I would do it. So I'm just gonna get some white, and I'll put it on my new palette in a place where it's not gonna get any different. So I put some paint there, and I just grab some water, and I just really water it down. Not like water or like colored water, more like a gouache. And gouache is like watercolor acrylic paint. So about like this consistency, maybe like a little runnier. So you have something like this. Now let's go back to the canvas. No, I do not have like a pencil mark showing me where the line is, but what I am gonna do is lightly take like this tip here, and I go as light as I can. Go very lightly and gently, and there we have a hoop earring. Then I'll take some more of my paint, I'll twist it out, and so I have that tip, and then I'll go back in again. And I'll be sure never to go up like this, because then it might get like weird or whatever, but always go in the same direction as the brush. Never go against the brush. Now I just grab some black, I'll put it in my other little bowl thing. Get some more water on my brush, so it's like dripping, see that? And then I'll put it in my third little bowl, and I'll take a little bit of the white, a little bit of the black. So it's like that same consistency, but like a different color. Now let's add some shadow. And one thing I'm gonna do is add like a little bit of blue. I'm just gonna put it right there because I don't need that much. Rinse off my brush so I have a clean brush. Take like the tiniest bit of blue and mix it in. So it's like a tint, not just gray. And go over. Get some black, put it right there to make more of a shadow. Get some more pure black and mix it in with some blue to get a darker natural shade. And painting this earring is a little bit difficult since it is so small. One thing to make it look like silver is, one, for your first layer, paint white and then black with a tint of blue for your shadows, or you can add yellow depending on what type of metal you're going for, but just keep messing around until you get something that you like. Crazy thing is, this painting took me less than 3 days. I did work on it over the course of a week, but I am a very fast painter, so I don't know how, I just am. Now I'm going to do the famous signature. One thing I am going to do before I call this 100% done is I'm going to paint the edges black, just black. The reason I did this so that whenever I hang it up, it looks kind of like a frame, so I don't have to finish the painting around the edge, because that can kind of get annoying whenever you don't do that in the first place. And plus, a black border is a lot more elegant, in my opinion. So I was gonna take my hair down, you know, try to look somewhat nice for the outro, and it's been up in like a claw clip all day, and it crimped my hair. But that is my full process on how I paint with acrylics. I really hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. I certainly had a lot of fun making it, especially since I was painting a masterpiece the whole time. But I hope you guys learned at least something new, and comment down below if this video was helpful in any way. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Be sure to follow me on the socials, especially Snapchat. I'm always on there posting on my story. You might see some behind the scenes in the next videos. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!